Okay, this data is on smoking habits for males and females, and we're going to get this data. We'll have to get some averages and then put it into the ESP4 sheet. So let's go ahead and do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the this data here for years smoked right here in column O. Now, some of this data has nothing in it, and some has values, some have years, and so on. So what I'm going to do is turn all this data into a table by just clicking in the data and then do insert table. It picks the columns for you and it says my table has headers, so say OK. And now we can do some sorting and so on. So if I look here, I just want values that are in years. So if I click in column P, I can do select all to deselect everything and then just select the ones that say years. That will eliminate cells that have text, days, months, and blanks. So that just gets me down to that area. Now, I think also some of these columns might have words in them where there should be numbers. For example, smoking number of years, if we click on that, you can see that, they smoked for 1 year, 2 years, 7 years, all the way up. But there's also do not read. So we need to get rid of text like that. So I'll say OK. Finally, what I'll do is come over here and sort this based on gender. We'll have to do one and then the other. So let's go ahead and get just the data for males. I'll select all and just choose males and say OK. Now I have all the smoking data for number of years smoked for just males. Now this is too much data to put into our ESP4 sheet to run an unpaired t-test right now. So what I have to do is I have to take this data, I'll click and drag over top of it, and then once I get it here, I'll have the smoking years for all the males, and I can copy it, Control C, click on a new sheet, and do Control V. So now I have in all that data. So here I can get in my average ifs. So I can do, first I can do count. It's really, I don't need even average ifs. I can just do count to get the number. So I'll do equals count, open parentheses, this column. And I can do, and see, this would be my n, the number of males. Then I can do my average. So I'll do just equals average and click on column A. And then I can get my standard deviation and do equals standard right here, STDEV for a sample right there. And that again is for column A. And hit enter. So there's that information. And now I'm going to get the same thing for the females. So eventually, once I get both the males and the female averages, count, average, and standard deviation, I'll put it into this sheet right here at the different places I may need it. So, and you can see it goes count, average, standard deviation. So maybe the best way to lay this out would be to do, let's do it over here. We'll do count, average, and standard deviation. And this is for the males. So let's do that. So what I'll do is I'll do it one more time over here. So equals count for that column, equals average for that column, and equals standard standard deviation, sample standard deviation, this one right here, for that column. And let's go ahead and, this one is the males, and let's do the same thing for the females and get that information. So I'll put that in column B, or you can put it in another place. If you're going to put it back in column A, you should delete that data first. So I'm going to go back to the Excel sheet that I have my data in, which is this sheet right here. And all I'm going to do is change the sort from male to female. So let's do that. Say OK. And now we have our data here. get this data for a number of years smoked for the females. Control C, and let's go back to our sheet that we've been doing some calculations on and do a Control V, paste it in, and we can put our stuff in for the females. So we can put in the number of people sampled, the average, and also the standard deviation. So again, we'll just do equals count and do column B. We'll do equals average and do column, well, we got to write it out here, average, and do column B, and then we'll do sample standard deviation again. Right here, this one, STD-EVS for column B, and that's our females. Now all I got to do is put this data into the Excel sheet and see now that it's lined up in the number of people, average, and standard deviation for both groups, and that's the way it's lined up on this sheet. And I'm going to be doing a two-tailed test because I'm checking for any differences. I can just get all 6 of these and put them in here. So let me go ahead and do that. So back on this sheet where we are, I'll highlight all 6 of these values, copy, and go to our ESP4 Excel sheet. This is the unpaired T, and right here, right mouse click, and I'm going to do a paste 1, 2, 3, and it gets the data in. And now I get my p-value, and I see there is no significant difference between the number of years smoked for males or females. In fact, it's pretty daggone close to being the same average. The average for the males is 25.7 years, and the average for the females is 26.35. So really, females smoke just a tad bit more, but it's definitely nowhere close to being a significant difference, since this p-value is way bigger than 0.05, and even at the highest alpha level we would possibly use, the 0.1, it's still way high. So that's how you do these types of these types of problems. And what yours might be is it might be based on how many items they smoked. And on this, watch out for things that say 100 or more cigarettes. I think there's some places that it might say that. And so if it does say 100 or more, it may not get the average of that, like right here. So you might have to go in and change this to say 100. So I'll stop it right here, and this is a good problem to do.